All right, good evening, Springs BOE. We're streaming to YouTube. You are being recorded. Phone lines are open. You may begin your meeting.
Thank you, LTV. Vicki, would you roll call, please?
Yes, in attendance tonight is Eric Fredrickson, Patrick Raven, Emma Field, and Dermot Quinn, and absent is Kate Harris.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming. Let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh. What's the date on that?
What?
No,
No, November.
As modified October by October 15th. Okay. Hold on, same page. I'm looking at the agenda itself.
it says no agenda item November 12th.
Yeah, but it was modified 15th of October.
Let's see.
I don't see what this.
Bottom of the screen, bottom of the page. As long as it's the right one. Okay.
That's the right agenda. It's right agenda. That's right.
Okay, okay, fine. Just go to the date on the bottom.
All right, so we're going to start with our actually some public commentary. But before I started, I always like to read this thing just to set the table for it, especially for those who are new. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to convene into the public comment period of our meeting. It's absolutely crucial for us to hear from our community members about their concerns and issues and appreciate all of your comments. While we may not be able to respond to your concerns and questions tonight, we do take them very seriously and want to have sufficient time to process and research issues if need be, so we can respond thoughtfully at a future meeting or have a proper staff member get back to you at the appropriate time. I also want to point out that under state and federal privacy laws, we are unable to entertain any comments or questions about school personnel or any individual identities. On these matters, we would ask you to go through the appropriate administrative channels. Finally, we intend that our school board meetings serve as an example to our students, that members of our school board and members of our community can deal with controversial issues in a civil manner and demonstrate mutual respect. In that spirit, we ask that all speakers and members of the audience maintain civility and respect for any divergent views that may be expressed. We ask that speakers please address their comments to the board directly rather than the audience. Thank you. So now I'd like to open up for public commentary number one. These comments are related to agenda items only. Is there anyone on LTV or in the crowd that would like to come up? LTV?
We have no callers on the line.
Going once for now, going twice. Okay. All right. So we're going to move to the principal's report section of our meeting. I ask for a motion to approve items 3.1 to 3.3 under the principal's report. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? All right, Mr. Kell.
Hey, how long you've gone for? Thank you, sir. Good evening. This is going to be a very special few moments here of a lot of great things that are going to occur tonight. But first, I would like to call up our wonderful 8th grade ELA teacher, Mrs. O'Reilly, who's going to introduce some amazing students, the project they worked on in class, and we're going to hear some great things from our students. O'Reilly.
So that this I Believe essay originated as a radio program hosted by the journalist Edward R. Murrow on the CBS radio network from 1951 to 1955. My 95-year-old father remembers it, actually. Every day, people were invited to write and read short essays about their personal beliefs, and it became a cultural sensation that emphasized individual values and encouraged people to articulate their guiding principles. The concept was revived by NPR in recent years, allowing people to continue sharing their core beliefs through written essays. We always begin every 8th grade year with this essay because it challenges each student to think about his or her own guiding compass. This project teaches the importance of using our voices in a positive, respectful way. And it's a great first step towards our research project, our speech project, which is really the culmination of our year. So tonight, our authors are Rafa DeMartis, Alex Morris, and Derek Morales. So I'm going to have them just go one after the other and listen to their speeches. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you very much.
That's all. I believe in perseverance. Things can get tough, and we've all had times when we wanted to give up. Even when quitting seems the easiest answer, I've learned that taking the more challenging path can pay off in the long run. Picture a little girl on Christmas Day who loves to sing. Presents from her parents are being opened, and she is delighted when she sees voice lessons as one of them. Guess what? That little girl was me. When the day came around for my first lesson, I was unbelievably eager. I had picked out some songs I wanted to sing, and I was waiting for Miss Lucy, my voice instructor. Once Miss Lucy arrived, I introduced myself, and it was time to start singing. At the time, I thought I would take one voice lesson and come out sounding like Taylor Swift. Needless to say, that didn't exactly happen. Miss Lucy started by doing something called voice warm-ups. She would sing funny words with different notes and ask me to repeat them. I was a little weirded out by it, but I complied. Miss Lucy was very loud and a little overwhelming. When we started singing, I was sounding a little discordant. After the first voice lesson, I was very disappointed and even considered quitting. My mom convinced me to try another one, and it was as overwhelming as the first. I decided to give it a few more chances. After about 4 lessons, I started warming up to Lucy, and I could tell the lessons were making a difference in my voice. Before I knew it, the first showcase was coming up. When it was time for me to perform, I was so tense I couldn't eat. But when I stepped on that stage, it felt like all of those lessons had paid off. I was still very nervous, but that was just background noise. When I was belting out Aaron Burr's part in Schuyler Sisters, I didn't have a care in the world. I was on cloud 9 when I walked off that stage, and I felt like I could do anything. Once the showcase was over, I decided to continue voice lessons. I still do them today. Sometimes I still feel that little voice in my head telling me I can't do it, but the lessons I learned overpower that voice. These events help me shape my core belief. I believe in perseverance. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
And gender equality. Have you ever thought if I was the opposite gender, everyone would love me? It was autumn of my 3rd grade year, and even though I was uninterested in the notion of chasing after a ball, I decided I was going to join a soccer team. Everyone in my family had always nagged me about sports, so I figured I would give it a try. As I stood on the field in the blue uniform that consisted of itchy socks and baggy shorts with my hair pulled out of my face, I realized it was a team of boys. I was the only girl. Practice began and I started to mind the sport less, but with that, the more effort I put into soccer, the more I was laughed at by my own teammates. Now, I was made fun of for being a girl who actually played sports. I went to school with the boys who would laugh at me, so the worst part was I could never escape their teasing. It wasn't because I was bad at sport, but only because I was a girl. I was frustrated and agitated. It didn't matter to me they were all boys, so why did it matter to them that I was a girl? If I was a boy, everyone would like me. I would say to myself before pulling off those scratchy socks that I despised and tossing them onto the floor. Why was the concept of a girl playing a sport so hard for the boys on my team to grasp? My own collaborators would take the ball from me. Not only was I playing against the other team, but now I was playing against my own team. I began complaining to the coach that I had a stomach ache so I could go home early. Eventually, it turned into me just giving practice, and I ended up quitting. The same scenario repeated itself when I tried playing basketball in the 4th grade, except the difference now was it wasn't boys my own age. The older boys didn't use their words to exclude me, but rather every practice turned into a game of monkey in the middle, and I was always in the middle of their private game. When the session was over, I came to the conclusion that I wouldn't play any more sports, no matter how hard I was pressured to do so. There was no point in it if I was going to be made fun of for being a girl, even if I was a good player. Athletics never became my passion. I often think about other women who have had their talents, dreams, and most importantly, their confidence stripped them just because they have the luck of being born women. I think of how many Beethovens and Theodores wasted their lives away unable to follow their dreams just because they were born female. I think that society will someday get there and we as a whole can all work together doing what we love, no matter our gender. There should have been a girls' team for me to play on from the start. Maybe then I would still be standing in that soccer field if she saw it all. I believe in gender equality. Thank you. I believe in kindness. I remember a day when I was going through a tough moment. My pet had died. At that moment, I felt that my life was broken. I didn't want to eat. And in my head, there was a little voice that made me blame myself for the death of my little pug. In school, next day, I was still so sad. Thoughts of my little boy filled my mind and made me feel like I was in peace. Although I was trying to be strong and instead of thinking about it, I was overwhelmed. I broke down and started crying. My friend saw me crying. He came close to me and quietly asked if everything was okay. When I told him that my pet had died last night, he hugged me and gave me some important advice. He said that those type of things happen in life, and there's nothing you can do to stop life from happening. He told me that talking about it with someone responsible can help you and make you feel a little better. After that, he smiled at me and offered a listening ear. In that moment, I felt like I wasn't alone. Even in darker moments, there is light and human connection. My friend's small act of kindness made me feel in a way that I have never experienced before. It was a moment when everything seemed right and there was no more darkness in the dark. I learned that even in the most difficult times, someone can be there for you, just listening or giving a little smile can change a person's perspective. My experience on that day inspired me to live with kindness in my life, to be considerate and to listen. Maybe it's as simple as saying good morning or holding the door for a complete stranger. I believe in kindness because I know it can change lives, starting in my own. In essence, my belief in kindness that was born from a personal experience has grown into a philosophy for life. I advocate for kindness not because I expect a world where everyone is perpetually shaped, but because I feel a person is powerful people to heal and to connect. No, the humble act of kindness you extend might be the very last thing someone needs to find a glimmer of hope or to simply make it through another day. The human connection of lives of from the true essence of kindness. This I believe. Thank you.
Follow that one there. That's just three of an entire grade level and just amazing things that occurred here. So we're proud to present our students' work to you. Next, I'm going to introduce not Mrs. O'Reilly, the 8th grade ELA teacher, but Miss O'Reilly, the poet and winner of the Bliss Moorhead Poetry Grant. It's important for our students to hear this and see this as well. We always want to model excellence at all levels for our kids, and here's a great example. And Miss O'Reilly, in her poem, like O'Reilly.
Legacy. Just before school began and we reclaimed our town they would be ready. Purple chandeliers glistening dusty blue like shiny pieces of agate, entwined with tired, tattered flax, sagging from the weight of another year's harvest. Vines and lattice woven together, one bolstering the other, united in purpose. Her father had carried a ball of roots with him across the sea, tucked away in his leather satchel, wrapped in heavy cloth, carefully tended for 3 months, grapes for wine, like home. We would jostle up the rickety wooden ladder under the arbor of tangled vines, so dense we could look straight up and get through the sun. My smart cousin told me the story of Icarus. I remember the thick skin tasted like Welch's grape juice without the muffin. Inside, the flesh was slimy, like we imagined a jellyfish would feel inside our mouths. We plucked them, squished them, whirled them, spat them at each other until Graham spat from her kitchen. That's enough. There won't be enough for jelly. Not jam, she called it jelly. Giant pots simmered on the stove, mason jars mustered in place, but we weren't allowed to help. Boiling water, hot wax, glass jars demanded too much supervision, and there were too many of us. Outside, all of you, she would shout, handing us a paper bag of moldy bread. Go feed the ducks. Take George for a walk. We weren't old enough, really, to free range our way down Main Street to Otter Pond to feed ducks stale bread that would bloat their bellies. But it didn't matter then. He was gone, along with our parents, and the house was gone too. Too valuable to keep, my cousin decided. The aching trellis interred in a rusty dumpster by the curb, vines and wood indistinguishable after 4 generations. Hydrangeas, a burst of blue, some landscape designer decided, would really be more fitting for a house on Main Street. So we walk past and I tell my son stories to anchor him to this place. All the parades marched past our porch. It used to be painted light green. We pumped too hard on the squeaky metal glider and launched ourselves into the sky. Every summer, she grew pink roses that pricked our fingers, and at Christmas, our table sat 8 on each side. I never did make it to the grown-ups table, even though I was one, like he soon will be. He laughs about the rickety lattice and the jellyfish grapes that smelled so sweet they sometimes drew August butterflies. I'll buy it back for you someday, he says, his hand entwined in mine. Sometimes we carry our roots with us, within us, like hope carried across the sea, and that is enough.
Beautiful.
Again, this is just a shout out to our teachers who are modeling each and every day for our students in school and out of school. Some really wonderful things. And to carry that on, it was a busy month for us here, and just a few highlights outside of the academics. Many of you know, many of you participated in. We had the idiom contest on Halloween for our middle school students. So the gym was packed full of students who dressed up, all as idioms. It was very thrilling. Miss Carney, Miss Rogers, and myself were the judges, so it was a really tough one to come down to our top 3 for each class, but it was really just wonderful for that. Later on that day, our elementary students all dressed up and they walked through the bus loop. Families were welcomed, pictures, smiles. It was really just a great day all around. We also had Red Ribbon Week that was piloted by Coach Mann, which was drug abuse prevention. So we tied that into somewhat of a Spirit Week type thing. Junior high fall dance. Junior high fall dances have come a long way since 1992, in my opinion. The lights, the cameras, the action, thanks to all the PTA, the staff, the student council, Mr. McCormack, and all the volunteers who helped out. And then finally, we did have our Veterans Day Spirit Meet, which was really wonderful. Ms. Branch hosted every year. She did such a great job. We had our veterans there, and again, our students afterwards had the opportunity to collaborate with the veterans for a brief breakfast, which was really wonderful. They were serving, they were asking questions, so just really great things going on, so much more to come. You'll hear from our PTA about some other collaborations we have, but we're getting into the busy season of lots of events outside of the education process, so that is all that we have for it. So thank you much. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for sharing your writing with us, all of you guys. Please, don't feel compelled to stay. Go home and get some sleep. Thank you guys very much. Every month we hope to have a meeting where students will come out and share stuff like that. I guess we should still approve it. It seems like a funny thing to approve, but
It doesn't really need, it's just a nice.
well, let's
thing to do.
cement it. Are there any questions or comments on anything going on with the principal's report? Good. All right. So all those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. We make it nice things official too. All right, so we're going to move to our consent agenda items. We have 4.2 to 4.17. So let's start with as for motion to approve items 4.2 to 4.17 on our consent agenda. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, so now we have, I'd like to invite members of our PTA to the podium to give us an update. PTA. Hello.
How are you?
Oh, well.
I'm Brittany Ballington. I'm the co-president of the PTA this year. And first, just want to say what a pleasure that was to hear some of our students speak on perseverance and equality and kindness. And it's very heartwarming as a parent to know that kids are here able to reflect on their feelings and gain the skills that they need to articulate them. So thank you for sharing that with us tonight. A couple of things. We've had a really fun-filled school year so far. Really fun, super eventful. I was involved in PTA last year. Not gonna lie, didn't know what I was getting into fully joining the board, but boy, has it been a blast. There are many volunteers who are helping with all of the events, and we're so grateful for everyone's support. There are especially about 10 to 12 parents who are involved at every turn, and I won't share each of their names here now, but just want to, you know who you are. Thank you so much for all that you do for the PTA. We had a really successful back to school barbecue earlier this year, and that's such a great event that we've done annually. I don't even know how many years it springs, but it's just really beautiful to bring the community back together, have a meal together, and enjoy some fun. We also had our catalog fundraiser this year, so we tried a new vendor. Unfortunately, we're a little bit behind on fundraising. Especially with that fundraiser. I think it was a good fundraiser, but we might have to do something supplemental this year for any kids listening, because I know all the kids are listening to this meeting. They might be listening. We'll be announcing the classroom winner later this week. So one classroom who was able to raise the most will be winning a cookie party. So we'll shout out to them later this week, maybe at like a spirit meet or pep rally. We also had our book fair in October, which was such an amazing success. Special thanks to Shelby Snelly, who's our book fair queen. And then also Monique Sullivan and Jessica Vickers, who really helped make Park Night so beautiful. It was wonderful to see many families come out for that, and we hope to be able to capitalize and build on that, maybe even for the spring or in future fall book fairs. With everybody's support, we were able to kind of maintain the same fundraising that we did last year at the book fair. So thank you so much to everybody who shopped. We've also had many pre-K events. So as you all, I'm sure here know, the pre-K is now under the spring school jurisdiction, but still needs a lot of supplemental support. And so we've continued a lot of the programming that the PTA established last year with visits from the fire department, and also an on-site pumpkin patch, which I think just, it makes it really magical for the kids. And we're really looking forward to including them in the upcoming turkey trot as well. Before I get to that, I also want to share that from all of our activity last year and all of our wonderful fundraising, especially with the Springs Mystery Art Sale, we are working with Jonathan LePage and Nancy's office to explore purchasing a kiln for the art department. We're really excited about this. And it's something we've been working on the teachers with for about 6 months now. And Jonathan is hard at work trying to get the right quotes and making sure that everything is compliant with what the school needs. And so we're hoping to be able to purchase that this year. But if not, then of course we'll be reaching out to the BOE to partner and see what we can do about getting that as soon as possible. So on to the turkey trot. The turkey trot is Monday, November 25th. If you wouldn't mind, sorry, just scrolling down a little bit on that PDF. Sorry, this is not quite formatted, but for those who are watching on YouTube, they can kind of see. There it is in Spanish, and all of this is also on Parent Square, and I'm sure that you've all received many different emails, and you can stop right there. Perfect. So our goal for this turkey trot was originally communicated as $30,000. We've adjusted our goal to $35,000 so that we can get our budget back in line with our fundraising deficit from the catalog fundraiser. So last year we were able to raise $27,000, which is a huge amount of money. And that's many thanks to the very, very generous families, Springs businesses, and then of course the kids who go out and ask uncles, aunts, grandma, grandpa, next door neighbors. And so we really need your help to do that again. This fundraiser is the biggest determinant in our ability to fund field trips for the coming school year. And it's also our highest margin event of the entire year. So, we own the finish line, and we own the Osprey costume. Thanks, Shelby, for helping in that. The East Hampton Police Department is very kind to come out and help us close off the roads for the school day race. The PE teachers are involved. Mr. Kelt's going to get involved with, I'm sure, something hilarious that we'll find something to do. But we really, really, really need your help. And so this goal is aggressive, but it's also because we want to be able to maintain those field trips for the kids that are so special. We've already done a bit of outreach to those who donated last year and on PTA side, and have tried to partner with individuals who sourced some of those donations. But again, we just, right on camera, we really, really, really need your support. So please reach out to your spring school student, your neighbor who has kids at spring school, and consider what you're able to give this year. And if you aren't able to give any money, that's okay too. We take volunteers day off. So again, Monday, November 25th is the date of the turkey trot, and we'll be there with coffee at 8 a.m. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We appreciate all that you guys do. It's a wonderful supplement to what we have in the budget, and being able to offer the kids even more. And your time is so precious, and we thank you for volunteering it, all of the members of today, and parents who plan. So hopefully we'll hit that number.
Yeah,
before you
we got this. Manifest.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to move on to the business items section. Let's see here. We have 9 tonight. So, all right, to start the discussion, I ask for a motion to approve items 6.1 to 6.9 under business items on our agenda. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Second. All right, so thank you. Jonathan and Sam are at the Association of School Business Officials Conference this week. So tonight, Nancy is going to field some of these questions. Do we have any questions on this business section?
I just understand what 6.9 is.
Okay, so we are,
6.8.
oh, 6.8?
I didn't email on that.
Yes.
I'll try 6.8 and 6.9.
So 6.8, we have a student who lives in Springs and attends the Ross School, and we are required, the student needs speech services at the Ross School, and Wayne Scott is the school that has to provide those services for Ross because they don't have that available staff there. So, but we are required to pay for the services. So we have a contract with Wayne Scott, and that's what that agreement is. And then 6.9, Ms. Chappell is going to be working with our special ed department. She's going to be chairing special ed meetings, observing teachers, working with families, and she's going to be consulting with us until we have a permanent person in the position.
One question.
Launching this one, right? We're gonna have one. Is that detail on the reports? That one?
Yeah. So one of the as we talk about like changing our codes, right, and making them more efficient, next month we'll add an item to the agenda to be more descriptive in terms of what
The changes that are ahead with how the budget codes are being.
Yeah. Which is actually, that's great timing because budget season is approaching. So as we get more and more consolidated and efficient with our coding, which is easier to follow, I think that'll be more understandable for people.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really just trying to condense the codes and make sure things are all in the right place. Things were in a lot of different places, and we're just trying to make things more efficient.
Right. So in the meanwhile, like numbers, they
look askewed because yes, as I said, we're eliminating some codes and making sure that everything is where it should be.
Excellent. All right. So thank you, Nancy, for answering that. I know, Jonathan and Sam, of course, they're way on top of that. And next month, if there's any more information we need, we'll probably get all our questions answered then, and more. So for now, all those in favor, was 6-1 to 6-9? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, now it's time for our superintendent's report, actually. This is really exciting. As for motion to approve items 7.1 to 7.3 under the superintendent's report and recommendations. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? All right, great. Thank you. Nancy, can you please review these items?
Yes, I'm happy to. First, I'm very excited tonight to be recommending teacher Juana Loja for tenure this evening. It was a pleasure to observe her in her E&L classroom of Emergent English as a New Language 8th grade students. It was obvious that her students had great respect for her and that they are learning English along with content in required subject areas. She comes highly recommended by me as well as our other administrators and her colleagues. We're fortunate to have her as a member of our spring school family. So congratulations, Juana, and I look forward to working with you in the years.
Congratulations, Juana. There was a quote from Nancy that sums it all up, that you're a real gift to our school. We're so happy to have you.
My best.
And in other good news, we're pleased to accept a donation of $2,500 from local singer and songwriter Nancy Atlas. The funds will be used to purchase instruments for our students in band, and many thanks to her for her generous donation. That was really something. All of our kids are going to be provided instruments, so it's a great gift.
Yeah, Nancy, actually, we really calculated, or you guys really calculated how many needed it, and Nancy came through.
Yes.
Thank you so much to Nancy Alice.
No, it's a wonderful gift to the district. We appreciate all the people that donate things for our students, very much so. And then just some other news. I want to update the board on projects we've been working on. The new water heater has been installed finally, and we now have hot water throughout the building. Our teachers are truly appreciative. I see them shaking their heads of this. Also, our septic system, which I had informed the board we were having a lot of issues with. It's been serviced. The pumps are being rebuilt, and all seems to be in working order. And our boilers have been cleaned, they've been serviced, getting ready for the winter season. We are still waiting for an air dryer to be installed by Cardinal. We have some issues with condensation and water in the lines, so some of our rooms will have leaks in them. So the air dryer will help to remedy that situation, and that should be happening very soon. And then I'd just like to share our enrollment report right now. Before I do, though, I do just want to thank the PTA and our staff for providing our students with so many great experiences this fall. Our students have enjoyed numerous field trips that provide enrichment to what they're learning in the classroom, and we really appreciate all that they do. So here's our current enrollment report. And as you can see, our enrollment is down from October 7th last month to November 8th this month, both at Springs and at the high school. So we have 10 fewer students at the high school and 12 fewer students pre-K through 8. That's a significant amount of fewer students from one month to the next. And also very interesting is that from November 28th of last year, 2023, until November of this year, we have 40 fewer students pre-K through 8 and 36 fewer students at the high school. So enrollment does seem to be declining. In most of the local school districts, it's something that we really have to pay attention to make sure we budget properly and that we move forward in a responsible manner. Fortunately, the schools, all our local schools are working together to be sure that we can provide students in all local areas with good programs as we go forward. So it's something we need to keep our eyes out on for. And that's that.
Thank you very much, Nancy. Do you have any questions? Well, it is something that's going on everywhere and something that we definitely need to keep an eye on. But It's also a very dynamic number too. you
It
know.
fluctuates daily, actually.
Yeah, that's amazing to me, that it's
Yeah.
even a daily.
Yes, we get a lot of new students each day, and then students also leave on a regular basis as well. Usually they're moving to areas up island that are more affordable for families to live. And we do have some families in the Coast Guard, and then they'll also move from one place to another.
Appreciate your rigorous tracking of it. It is something that impacts the school all the time, and it's hard to keep track of, but you guys do a wonderful job. So thank you.
That's it, time. And we'll give us a report next month or so when you give us the high school level of the placement of them.
Yes,
So we can watch for that.
yes.
Any other questions? Okay, so all those in favor? Aye. All right, any opposed? No? Okay, motion carries. So we're up to our public comment number 2. This is a more general public comment. It does not have to be on items of the agenda. Is there anyone on LTV or in the audience that remains after our presentations? I would like to come up.
We have no callers on the line.
One.
Would you like to stay there for your public
I'll
comment?
stay here. Hi, Nancy. How are you?
Hi, how are you, MJ? Good.
My question is this, when you're talking about, I know, the septic systems, is this the new ones?
Yes, it is.
And how did they know what to do?
So I don't know a lot about septic systems, and I keep getting told to stay in my line because I do ask a lot of questions. But so what has occurred is the pipes from some of the old systems that go into the new septic systems, they come from all different places in the building.
Right.
And the water just hasn't been flowing properly. We also had a lot of issues with things being stuffed in the toilet bowls that shouldn't be stuffed in there. So we had all the pipes snaked out and cleaned, which helped, but we also had to have the septics pumped, the system, and now things are working well. But it's really important that we maintain these.
So it's really the older component of it.
It's some of the older pipes,
Yeah.
that fed
Well,
into
that's a good thing,
the
because
new
really-
pipes.
So that's a nice clarification because you think of the field and the new system and everything that went into that, but it's true that that's new systems
Things-
integrated
they-
into.
they do
pipes that have been on the
integrate,
building.
right.
And then, of course, as
So it's
mentioned,
the older components that are giving us a problem. Because if the newer components are giving us a problem,
The newer components just need to be maintained. So,
Right.
for example, we have 2 pumps that are on the septic systems that we sent out to be repaired so that we always have spares. Just making sure that things are maintained on a regular basis.
okay. That's it.
do you have any other comment? All right. LTV, last chance.
Still no callers on the line.
Right. At that note, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned.
Bob, I just shoot to the new tech person. Well, yes.
Thank
Just
you all.
one
for
up.
speaking.
All right, good night.